receiving what the Lord is saying on tonight? I don't know about you, but I hear the setup in the atmosphere. I hear the setup in the atmosphere. The woman of God came up here and talked about suddenlies and how God is about to do some things in our lives. And then the men of God came up here and ministered, walk into your season. Because God is doing a new thing. Anybody believe that God is doing a new thing? Anybody believe that God is about to do it suddenly in your house, in your finances, in your relationship, in your job? Come on, somebody. I don't know about you, but when you believe God for something like that, you have to get radical. You gotta get radical. You gotta know that you know that you know that God, I'm walking into a new season. I'm walking into a new time. I'm believing you for something so supernatural. It's gotta take faith, y'all. You gotta walk, you gotta know that you're walking into a new season, time, and hour, and that God is going to be moved by, guess what? He's gonna be moved by your faith. He's not moved by your tears. Stop crying, pick up your lip, dry your eye. God is moved by your faith. Tears didn't move mountains. Tears ain't never moved a mountain. But the Bible says that you have faith the size of a mustard seed. You can speak to a mountain and you can say, be ye removed now in the name of Jesus. Oh God, we thank you for what you've been releasing in the atmosphere. We thank you for the prophetic sound. We thank you for the prophetic utterance that's been resonating time and time again. Tonight, oh God, it's been continuous. It's been something that you're ministering to us to let us know that we're about to tap into something so profound. And what you're requiring is an elevation of faith. What you're requiring is an elevation of going deeper in the things of you. Oh God, we hear the sound. We hear what you're telling us, oh God. And we declare by faith that we're going to do what you have us to do. Father, you're taking us to another level. And we declare that we are ready in the name of Jesus. We declare, oh God, that we want our hearts to be in the right place. We want our minds to be in the right place. Stinking thinking gotta go, oh God. Every thought that is not like my God, we command it to lose itself now in the name of Jesus. Every thought, oh God, that is contrary to what you have spoken over our lives, we say, be loose now in the name of Jesus. Every thought that is not like my God, be loose now. Anxiety, fear, anything that is holding us back from our breakthrough, God, we say loose it off of us now in the name of Jesus. God, speak to every vessel in here tonight prophetically. Let them know what thus said the Lord. Oh God, we ask that you move mightily, you speak prophetically, and you do what only you can do. Oh God, release your glory. Oh God, dispatch your angels. Oh God, move. Oh hallelujah, move, oh God, in this atmosphere. Have your way. In Jesus' name. Jesus' name. Now y'all gotta flow with me on tonight. Me and Prophetess Tanikia, we got a setup for you guys. God has already been setting it up. He's been setting it up. Somebody say, I'm being set up. I'm being set up. I'm being set up. Because the thing that God gave us tonight, and y'all didn't even know our message, but God said, he said, tell the people, he said that your next is now. Come on, somebody. Your next is now. Come on and say, my next is now. See, y'all didn't even know that that's what we were going to be ministering tonight. The men of God that came and ministered this word, they didn't even know. The woman of God that came and ministered, she didn't even know. Somebody said, I've been set up. See, God is setting us up. He said, he who has an ear to hear, I need him to hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying in this season. Before you even got started, he said, remind them of the word that you ministered at the beginning of earlier this year. He said, tell them that the last 6 months of this year are going to be so profound, the blessings and breakthrough and favor. And God said, watch this. As I ministered that, they began to set you up. Come on. They began to set you up in mind, set you up in worship, set you up in the word, set you up in hope. Come on, somebody. God said, I'm setting you up. I'm setting you up. Everybody in here that is under the sound of my voice, whomever is here, God said, I'm setting you up. He said, because your next is your now. Say, my next is my now. God said, you don't have next, you got now. Come on and say it. Come on. decree or believe a thing by faith, then my next is my now. My next is my now. My next is my now. Oh, I feel this thing. I feel fire up in here. I feel fire. Y'all gotta flow with me up in here. Because this is going to be something different. I just know God is trying to get a word across to y'all. And it's going to be on repeat mode tonight. It's going to be on repeat mode. And God's saying, I'm going to do it. I'm about to do it. I'm about to deal with he who has an ear to hear. Your next is now. Your next is now, says the Lord. Your next is now. I need y'all to hear it all over social media. Your next is now. Your next is now. Yes. And God said, I began to meditate on this theme. I said, well, God, where do you want me to go with this? And he said, take them to Joshua. He said, tell them about my servant Joshua. And then see, Joshua was the one. I'm going to just give you a quick overview, and I'm going to try to move out of the way so my sister can take it. But here's the thing about Joshua. Joshua was the one what took Moses 40 years to get to. It took Joshua a few days to break through. Come on, somebody. Oh, my Sunday. See, y'all got to hear this. Joshua was the one that said, I want it now. He said, my next is my now. He said, what it took Moses 40 years. He said, I'm about to get through it. I'm about to break through it in just a few days. Give me a few days, said Joshua. Watch this. Joshua had the I want it now in my spirit because he understood that his next is his now. His next is his now. His next is his now. Come on, somebody. His next is his now. God said, your next is your now. He said, tell them about my servant Joshua. Watch this. I'm going to take you to Joshua, the first chapter. Y'all just flow with me for a second. I tell you, I'm going to be out of your way. Joshua, the first chapter, in verse 1. It said, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun. Watch this. I'm going to say that again. After the death, y'all got to catch this. After the death of Moses. The death of Moses. I'm going to say that. After the death of Moses. Because there are some things I want to resonate in your spirit. After the death of Moses, the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun. He said, son of Nun, Moses is aid. He said, Moses, my servant is dead. I'm going to say that again. He said, Moses, my servant is what? Dead. Moses, my servant is what? Dead. He said, now then. I'm going to say that again. After God told Joshua, he said, Joshua, Moses, my servant is dead. He said the next words that came out of his mouth was, now then. Your next is what? Your next is what? Your next is what? Okay, watch this. God said, no, my servant is dead. And then he began to tell Joshua, he said, now then, Joshua. He said, you and all these people. He said, get ready. Come on, somebody say, get ready. Get ready. God said, get ready to cross the Jordan River. He said, I'm about to get into the land that I'm about to give you. What had to happen? Who died? Moses died. When Moses died, God told him, he said, what? Now then. Now then. After now then, he said, get ready to what? I need y'all to flow with me. He said, get ready to cross. He said, get ready to cross into the Jordan River, into the land that I'm about to give you, to the Israelites. He said, I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. He said, your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon, and from the great river the Euphrates, all the Hittite country. Y'all better catch this. He's telling you about your territory. He said, and to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. He said, nobody will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. He said, but one more thing, Joshua. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. As I was with who? Moses. That thing that died in that season. He said, I'm going to be with you. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. He said, but one thing I need you to do, Joshua. He told him, he said, I need you to be strong. I need you to be courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land that I swore to their ancestors to give them. He said, tell Joshua in the building, your time is now. No more next, because your next is now. I'm going to say that again. He said, tell the Joshuas in the building, your time is now. No more next, because your next is now. I'm going to say that again, because your next is what? Oh, y'all going to get this. Y'all gonna get this before we leave out of here. He said, watch this. But Joshua, check this out. Y'all are the Joshuas of today. He said, Joshua, there's some things that have to happen. What was the first thing that happened for Joshua? Moses died. he said, tell my Joshua's that something has to die. He said, something has to die. He said, don't you be crying. Don't be crying over that dead thing. He said, I had to do it. He said, it was in my will. He said, you didn't know it. It might have hurt you. It might have bothered you a little bit. He said, it was in my will. Whether it was a relationship, whether it was a job, whether it was a person, whether it was your fear, whether it was your depression, whether it was your anxiety, it was your stress, it was your broke, busted, and disgusted position. He said something had to die. Something had to die in this season. He said, watch this. He said, the word says after the death of Moses. There's a Moses type situation in your life right now. You name what your Moses type situation. See, you got to understand that Moses was a general. Moses was a leader. Moses led all the people, and they did that, and everything flowed through Moses. There is something connecting to you that is leading you, that has been leading you into some way or another. He said, there's a Moses that has been directing your steps. There's been a Moses that's been directing your path. There's been a Moses that's actually been standing in your way. He said, but something had to die. Moses had to die. What is your Moses? Fear, you got to go in the name of Jesus, because fear, you've been controlling me. Fear, you've been leading me. Fear, come on somebody, peer pressure. Pressure from friends. Pressure from families. Pressure from relationships. It's something that's been leading you into a place that is taking you away from where God would have you. Come on and tell that thing, say, Moses, you got to die, because you've been leading me for far too long. You've been putting me in a position that God never intended for me to be in. And now I'm sitting here looking like, what in the world? But God said, Moses got to die. He got to die. If your next is about to be your now, he said, there is something in your life that's got to die. Yeah. When your thinking is just a little bit stinking. When you don't look at yourself how God looks at you. He said, tell that Moses, it's got to die. It's got to die. When you're looking at that other folk getting blessed, and you wonder, when is my time? He said, God said, your time is now. Now let that Moses die in your head. When you comparing yourself. No self-esteem, insecurity. Tell your Moses, Moses, you got to die. Moses got to get out of your way. Moses got to get out of your way. I'm going to say that again. Joshua couldn't be Joshua until Moses moved out of the way. Joshua couldn't step into the promise till Moses moved out of the way. See, Moses had a time and a season. And when Moses' time was up, he had to get out of the way. He had to move to another level. He had to go to wherever he would have to go. But Joshua was standing there waiting. He was just standing there waiting. When is my turn? When is my turn? God, when is my turn? God, when is my turn? I've been watching Moses. I've been listening to Moses. I've been following Moses. God, when is my turn? He said, your time is now. You don't have no next no more. He said, Moses dead. When you gonna move, Joshua? When you gonna move? Let me tell you, so that was the first thing. The second thing that had to take place for Joshua to have his time now, a crossing over had to take place. You see, the scripture said, now then, you and all these people, say all these people, get ready to cross the Jordan River. Let me give you a breakdown of the Jordan River. He said, tell them what Jordan River is all about. The Jordan River means to flow down. I'm going to say that again. The Jordan River means to flow down. There is something, watch this, that you got to cross over that's been taking you down into a low place. But God said this is your now season to cross over that thing that's been flowing down. He said it's been taking you in a downward direction. He said, but watch this. He said, you and all the people get ready to cross over into the land that I'm about to give you. He said, get ready to step. He said, get ready to go. Get ready to release burdens. Come on, somebody. He said, you got to release the burden that Moses put on you. You got to release it because there's a newness that is waiting on you. He said, somebody had to cross over. Because there is a now opportunity that's about to stare you in your face. There is a now opportunity that is about to stare you in your face. God is saying, Joshua, I just need you to step. Somebody say step. In order to cross over, you first got to take a step. But a lot of times we look at the Jordan River like, no, I can't cross over just yet because it ain't my time. It ain't my season. And you keep giving an excuse as to why you can't cross over, as to why you can't cross into, as to why you got to keep looking at the Jordan River flow. God said that thing that's been flowing in a downward direction is about to be moved. It's about to be moved. It's about to be moved. Watch this. He said, I need you to get past where you come from. Get past the man. the woman, the issue in your tissue, the junk that's in your trunk. He said, I need you to get past it so that you can, guess what? Cross over. He said, step past where you're at so God can release you into where you're going. Y'all hear that? Step past where you're at so God can release you into where you're going. He said, come on and step, Joshua. The third thing that Joshua had to do, he had to what? One, Moses had to die. Two, he had to cross over. He had to take a step. Three, he had to be obedient and trust God. See, this is that time when it's hard. See, you can say, I trust the Lord, I trust the Lord. But when your faith gets tested, when God is telling you to move, when God is telling you to get off that job, when God is telling you to break out of that relationship, when God is telling you to do something that you feel a little bit uncomfortable doing, are you really going to trust God in that situation? Come on, somebody. See, God told Joshua, he said, now Moses dead, cross over, and he said, Joshua, whatever you do, I need you to be obedient. He said, whatever you do, Joshua, I need you to trust me. He told Joshua, he said, matter of fact, Joshua, be careful to obey all the laws that I gave you through Moses. He said, now do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be what? Successful wherever you go. He said, as you step, Joshua, I need you to listen to my voice. I need you to hearken to my voice. I need you to do what I tell you to do. Now watch this, because in your stepping, some people may rub you the wrong way. In your stepping, you might not have everything that you need. In your stepping, you're going to have to overcome fears. In your stepping, you're going to have to get over your own lust. Come on, somebody. Lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, pride of life. You're going to have to get over your own self. God said, in your stepping, don't get petty on me. Because in your stepping, folk gonna come against you. In your crossing over, folk gonna talk about you. In your stepping, folk gonna look at you and reject you just like that. But God said, I didn't call them, I called you. He said, I didn't call them, I called you. That's why he had to tell Joshua, whatever you do, you be obedient and you listen to whose voice? You listen to my voice. God told Joshua, he said, Joshua, whatever you do, you listen to my voice. He said, don't get petty, don't get prideful, don't get no get back spirit. He said, no, you just need to step in obedience, step in power and not fear. Because I'm going to tell you something. Your next level is going to demand power. And it's going to have to make you lose fear. Because God said, I didn't give you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. In this season of you stepping, he said, you're going to have to let go of fear. You're going to have to let go of rejection. You're going to have to let go of some foe. And don't worry, Moses is dead. They got to go. But sometimes we hold on to people that God's saying, you know that ain't it. You know that ain't it. He said, I need you to be obedient. Now look now, I'm telling y'all what has to happen for your now, for your next to be your now. Okay, because I can release the prophetic word all day long. But if you're not obedient and willing, God said you're going to miss the fruit of the land that I have waiting on you. So watch this. Moses died. 2, a crossing over had to take place. 3, Joshua had to be obedient. He couldn't get petty. He couldn't get foolish. He couldn't get silly. He had to be obedient. He had to wait and listen to God's voice. But then watch this. There was something else that Joshua had to do. What are you going to do now to prepare for the manifestation that God is about to do? Number 4, Joshua had to prepare now for his next. What's in your now? And this is a Selah moment. What is in your now that's hindering your next? God says, step away from it. See, let me tell you what some of our Moses is. God says, step away from the excuses. Step away from the anxieties. Step away from the fears. Step away from your doubt and your disbelief, because that's a Moses, says the Lord. That is a Moses, says the Lord. That is what's been leading many of you to step away from the promises. But I want y'all to catch this. In Joshua chapter 4, what did I tell y'all the Jordan River meant? flow down. Take you into a low place. It flows into a low place. In Joshua chapter 4, God said, when Joshua did everything that I just told y'all that God told him to do, he had to take a step. Right? Yeah. As he took the step, we get down to chapter 4 in Joshua. As he took the step, that thing that flowed down that was taking him into a low place, guess what the Lord did? As Joshua was willing and obedient, God dried up the low place so that he could walk on a dry place. Come on, somebody. Y'all gotta catch that. As he did everything that God told him to do, and he began to take a step, that thing that was bringing him to a low, God dried that thing up. And guess what? And moved it out of his way. He dried that thing up and he moved it out of his way. And guess what? It began, it talked about the Jordan River began to flow down into the Dead Sea. That thing that was taking him to a low place, it began to go to a place that was dead. That was no longer a part of Joshua's life. But Joshua had to first be obedient and do what God told him to do. Y'all gotta catch this thing, because this thing is deep. He said, watch this. There has been a Moses in your now that has caused you to not tap into your next. When fear creeps in, watch this. Joshua had to do something prophetically in his now. I need to go back to that. To signify what God was about to do in his next. Y'all catch this again. Joshua had to do something prophetically in his now to signify what God was about to do in his next. In Joshua chapter 3, verse 5, Joshua told the people, consecrate yourself, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things amongst you. Watch this. God wasn't going to do it till tomorrow, but there was something that he needed to do today to get to that next on tomorrow. And then he said, no. See, before you get into your next, he said, I need you to do something in your now. Joshua said, consecrate yourself, because tomorrow is going to be amazing. I'm going to say that again. Consecrate yourself, because tomorrow is going to be amazing. Come on, somebody say, tomorrow is going to be amazing. But there is something I got to do in my now to manifest that next. Okay, so Joshua said, consecrate yourself. That means you got to sanctify yourself. You got to set yourself apart. That means that the Moses that you was connected to, you can't be connected to him no more. You got to be set apart from the Moses that was leading you down the Jordan River. Come on, somebody. Here's the thing about Moses, Pastor. Moses couldn't take him into the promised land. God told him to, but there was something about Moses that brought about disobedience. And when Moses couldn't do what God told him to do because of disobedience, he said, you know what? I'm going to raise up a Joshua. I'm going to raise up a Joshua. I'm going to let Moses fall away because Moses was disobedient. Y'all better catch that. And I'm going to raise up a Joshua that's going to do what I say do. That's going to go where I say go. And when I tell him to do something, Joshua's going to be the one that said, I want it now. I got it now. Because my now is my next. Come on, somebody. Watch this. So when Moses, number 4 was he had to do something prophetically to manifest his next. Watch this. When he did that, he consecrated himself. They had to do something else prophetically, Pastor. He said, now that you have crossed over, now that you're walking around on dry land, he said, now that you've seen a miracle be produced before your eyes, and now that you have come to where I told Moses to go, and he couldn't do it, he said, but I can trust you now. He said, now that you have come into it, I need you to release a sound for your son. He said, Joshua, I need you to open up your mouth to act like you done went loco, cuckoo for cocoa pebbles. He said, I need you to open up your mouth, Joshua, and produce a prophetic sound. Act like you done lost your mind and give me a prophetic praise, because the impossible is about to be made possible. Come on, somebody. The wall of impossibility is about to be made possible through your praise. Watch this. They crossed the land, but they haven't quite entered in yet, because there was something standing in the way of their necks so that they couldn't quite get to it now. There was something standing in the way of their necks. But they did everything God told them to do. But God said, yep, you done made it over here. But before you even go deeper, he said, I need you to speak to the wall. I need you to speak to the wall of impossibility. I need you to speak to the wall of insecurity. I need you to speak to the wall of fear. I need you to speak to the wall that's causing your children to act a plumb crazy fool. I need you to speak to the wall. And Joshua began to speak to the wall. He told everybody, he said, now look, he didn't do it by himself. He told everybody in his camp, if you crazy for Jesus like I am, we about to lose our mind in praise right now. We're going to declare that this person is saved. We're going to declare that our bank account is full. We're going to declare favor over our jobs. We're going to declare, come on somebody, relationships are being restored. We're going to speak to the wall like we done lost our mind. Because God said, prepare yourself. Because tomorrow is going to be amazing. But there is something that you got to do in your today to get to your tomorrow. And so they got to the wall, watch this, and they began to shout. They began to lose their mind. But 6 days, they walked around it. And for the 7th day, come on, number completion, right? They began to shout like they had lost their mind. They began to do what God told them to do. And when they did, when they were obedient, that's when their necks became their now. But watch this. And I'm about to close this out. When they went and the wall was knocked down, that wall that's standing in your way, that's keeping you out of that relationship that you've been praying for, that's keeping your finances from coming into overflow, that's keeping everything that's been blocking you. God said, when that wall comes down, watch this. You've been obedient up until this point. But watch this. When he came into the promised land and he told him to do something. He said, now you take all the land, you take all of this. He said, but don't bring something back. What happens when you done did all that work, all that crazy praise, all that obedience, everything that God told you to do from A to Z, but you got an aching in your camp. That's God to hinder your now from being your next. Come on, somebody. You got an aching in your camp that don't want your next to manifest in your now. But see, Moses died. You thought you had got rid of Moses. Moses was the one that was standing in your way. But then when you tap into the promise, there's another somebody that manifests. You're like, God, I done did all of this and now I got to go through this all over again. Now I got somebody in my camp that is doing stupid stuff, that's talking about me, that's lying on me, that's rejecting me, that's doing everything that you told them not to do. What happens when you got an aching in your camp? And they looking at you, staring you in your face, lying to you the whole time, acting like they with you and they ain't with you. They just want to get in your pants. They don't love you for real. They just want to sex you, text you, and do everything they want to do. What happens when you got an aching in your camp and don't even know it? Come on, Prophetess, my God. You done tapped into the promise. Your next then became your now. And then all of a sudden, God said, now, how many of you know that when you tap into your promise, it's another level? There was another level that Joshua had to get into to manifest his next, right? So he done got into that land. Watch this. He done got into that new land. He done got into the promise. And he found out, God, I got an aching in the camp. What do I do? What do I do? And God said, this is what you do. Bring them all to me. Because the same thing that happened to Moses is about to happen to your aching. Watch this. God said, but I'm going to tell y'all something. Here's Joshua, and I'm closing with this. Here is Joshua. When he finds out that, okay, God, we got an aching in our camp. These people finna come and get us. They finna repo my house, repo my car, repo this, repo that, and I'm finna go through this and go through that. He had all this stuff. He went to God, and he began to cry out, and he began to say, God, I thought you said my next is my now. But right now, I feel like I'm getting broke, busted, and disgusted. I feel like I'm getting slapped in the face left and right. God, you said my next is my now, but why am I still going through even after I done tapped into the promise? Why am I still struggling? Why am I still going through? God said, watch this, watch this. So Joshua had a weak moment. He got some tears. He crying. What I tell y'all before? God ain't moved by your tears, is he? What is God moved by? He's moved by your faith. when Joshua came to God and started crying, talking about, well, God, I didn't know, and God, we was better off when we was over there, and I know we in the promise now, but I'm struggling right here, but you said in the promised land it was milk and honey, and I'm getting like pork and beans and wings. What's going on, God? And God, he was crying out to God. You know what God told him? He said, boy, if you don't pick yourself up, if you don't pick up your lip, pick up your face, and do what I told you to do, he said you're losing and you're struggling because there's some disobedience in your camp. Yeah. He said you're losing and you're struggling because somebody didn't do what I told you to do. He said that's why. He said you pick your lip up and you go figure out that situation and get that aching out your camp. Yeah. He said because as long as you got an aching in your camp, I can't bless you. It's in the word. Y'all go back and read it. He said, as long as you got that in your camp, I can't bless you. So God is saying, if you want your next to be your now, he said, go and get aching about the kitchen. Yeah. All right. Because he eating up all your food. He taking all your money. He's making you look crazy on the job and you don't even know it. He talking behind your back and you don't even know it. He said, go and get aching out your camp. Go and get aching out your camp. If you want your next to be your now, you got to remove the aching. Anybody believe that? Amen. Your next is your now. But God said there's some stuff that you got to do. There's some stuff that you got to do. Moses died. But what happens when Achan arises? And Achan didn't come through until Joshua came into his promise. When the walls came down, and they took over, Achan showed up. He was always there, but he was incognito. So God said, I'm going to show you your Achans in this season. I'm going to show you your Achans in this season. Achans, they're going to surprise you because Achan was with Joshua from the start. Moses died, but Achan was always there. And you didn't even know it. How many Achans do you have in your camp that's stopping your next from being your now? God said it's time to do a check on your life. Because you can get prophetic word after prophetic word after prophetic word. But when there is something, when disobedience is in the camp, that's causing you to get discombobulated and frustrated and getting outside of the will of God. Because what Achan did caused Joshua to get outside of the will of God. Why? Because they were connected. Watch God in this season. Amen. Amen. Come on and bless the Lord. Come on and bless the Lord. Because see, there is something that God is trying to do in this season.